Here's what didn't cost a little bit to do. Shazam,
Oh
Fury of the
God.
Gods.
Oh God.
Shazam!
Shazam.
Should we call Wrath of the Dragon?
$125 million production budget. Now, that's significantly more than Scream 6. However, significantly less than the average MCU Disney title. In fact, that's half as much as Wakanda Forever,
Right.
half as much as Thor 4, about half as much as Ant-Man 3.
The question is to ask this. I know it's probably way out there, but do you think with the whole James Gunn change-ups and all his announcements and stuff going on, do you think this has some type of aspect of affecting people actually going to theater to watch this because of some type of weird bias or spite?
I don't know if it's bias or spite, Stephen, although you could be right. I think in some folks' cases. I think the biggest problem right now with the Marvel franchise, and this is going to be my
DC.
question to you guys as I step out, or excuse me, the DC, thank you. It's superhero movies in general, I guess, but specifically for DC in this case. Once James Gunn came in, and once we had the changeover at Warner Brothers that we've had, Walter Hamada, of course, is gone. Walter Hamada was responsible for this movie, responsible for The Flash, responsible for Aquaman 2, and he's gone, obviously for a good reason. Is this just a matter, guys, of I think people just checking out, looking at this going, well, this has nothing to do with the future of DC. That much has already been laid bare, effectively. So is it a matter of we just don't care that much? Did Ant-Man have an impact on this? And I'm going to leave you with this thought, and then I'm going to have to step away. And I'm going to send some links in the private chat, but I'm assuming you have them because I know we want to talk about some of these Disney layoffs thing. I'm going to let you guys kind of handle that or go your own route. But I'm going to leave y'all with this. And that is that I think part of this, I think, is interesting because as much of this is a fail, obviously, for this movie, and I don't see it getting substantially better. Now, it's possible that this movie legs out really well and pulls in $20 million, $30 million a week for the next month. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it will. Superhero movies typically don't. But in a roundabout, weird way, this is actually a win for David Zaslav. It effectively validates everything he did when he got to Warner Brothers. It validates the termination of Walter Hamada. It validates the termination of that whole crew, even down to Jason Kilar and all these guys. And he can say, see, this isn't really what audiences wanted. Let me put it this way. If I'm David Zaslav, because this is how this guy thinks, I promise you. Zaslav looks at a movie like this and goes, look, the first one people really loved, it's already in the bag, right? This movie was a done deal when he walked in the door, before he walked in the door. Zaslav looks at this and goes, geez, we spent $125 million on Shazam. We could have spent $125 million making a Batman movie. We could have spent $125 million making a Superman movie. We could have spent, you see what I'm saying? This is where he looks, and he sees the expenditure for a movie like this that's obviously not going to return any positive operating income here. There's no positive ROI, return on investment for this. Obviously, they'll do some, well, HBO Max is going to buy it at the end of the day, and the movie's profitable, right? Just like The Rock tried to say with Black Adam, which we all know was Fugazi, right? But with this, I think it kind of validates a lot of what Zaslav did. Not that he's sitting here happy about this by any means. He did his best. He went out there, promoted it, said, hey, it's a great movie. We got this. Hey, look, this movie did badly this weekend. What did they start doing? They turned around. Hey, Tom Cruise just said he wanted to see The Flash, and he saw it, and he thought it was great. So now we're talking about The Flash again. They've already forgotten Shazam. They already realized this isn't working too well. We've got to turn it around to The Flash and try to start pumping that up. That's where I think they are with this. I think they've kind of, at this point, at least emotionally written this movie off. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't want anybody out there, well, it's trashing the movie. I haven't seen it. I have no idea. Steven has seen it. He'll talk about it. I don't think he enjoyed it all that much.
Let me get your opinion on this, VR, real quick, because there's something here that I think is very interesting, that being that this film pulled 45% less of a theatrical revenue in its first weekend than the first Shazam.
Yep.
When you consider the difference, a 4-year difference in inflation for movie ticket prices, this is huge. This is like
bad.
this is like a 60 to 70% drop in audiences.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. You lost half your audience here, more than
oh,
half.
more.
Yeah.
And so here's my question for you. I'm looking at this and I'm wondering if this is taking us towards the end potentially of the superhero genre dominating the box office. And here's the reason why I say this. People might say, "Well, my gosh, Pro, it's just Shazam," But here's the thing. If your low level, your low interest, your C tier superhero films begin to drop this significantly, then what that tells me is that the casuals, the normies, are no longer as interested in the genre. What do you think about that? Is that a fair thesis?
I think it is. I don't know, but I think they're, by virtue of the fact, and when you say the superhero genre would dominate the box office, bear in mind of the scope of that genre, and then how many of those films get released nowadays each and every year. And we're usually
Right.
looking at least 4 or 5 a year.
It
That's
reminds me of the Western genre from decades ago.
spaghetti westerns, yeah. Except
Yeah.
now the spaghetti westerns cost 150 to $200 million a pop.
Yep.
That's not.
Yeah.
It's the same, but it's not the same. No, I see what you're saying. You're absolutely right. I don't. Again, I don't think there is superhero fatigue per se. I don't think there's necessarily any evidence of that in and of itself. I think the fatigue comes in. People are tired of bad superhero movies. People are tired of bad movies, and it's cute to go out there and people want to say, "Well, it had the biggest opening weekend of it had the biggest Tuesday of it did $100 million." None of that matters. None of that freaking matters. All that matters is, was that enough to make a movie profitable or not? Just saying it was the biggest movie of the month or one of the biggest movies of the year, that doesn't pay the bills at Warner Brothers. That doesn't pay the bills at Disney. It doesn't pay the bills at Paramount, Universal, anywhere else.
Valiant, I can sum this up.
Yeah.
I did like a 4-minute review of this film, and I didn't even have enough respect for the film to actually properly sound level check everything. That's literally what I did. I did it. I re-recorded my thoughts twice, and then I just converted it and uploaded it. The fatigue might not be it. How about this? There is no soul in superhero films. That's the problem. You're giving us all these characters, and you're telling them, "Hey, enjoy this. Look at this representation, or look at this," hiding behind $400 million of CGI, and yet you're going nowhere. The whole screen is moving, but the audience is going nowhere.
Oh, that is a great wow. Can I steal that?
Yeah, sure. Just pay me more.
Well, there's no hero's journey in any superhero movies.
No, that's why manga and anime is kicking ass. That's the truth, because you're
Yep.
going through the arc where the reluctant hero, reluctant villain, anti-hero, you have all of that there. And that's the same way comics are failing now. Look at the latest Robin that got canceled or getting canceled. It's all the same crap. They're giving one characteristic because they're falling behind the flag of representation, but human beings don't work on one characteristic. We are all individuals with multiple assets, deficits, and things that make us unique. They're not doing this anymore in Hollywood. They're giving us billboards. You can wipe off with an eraser and then draw another chalk picture later on. And people are tired of being told you're being represented by saying you're a cardboard cutout.
Well, let's go ahead and recognize Jedi Master Jin for $5. If Disney keeps going the dark financial path, how much longer do you give Iger in the hot seat? Sooner or later, Peltz will nip at Iger's heels. WD
Well,
Pro?
I have some great news for those of you who don't want Iger to stick around for very long. He never was going to stay around very long at all anyway. And so he is actually in a transitional state. He will be gone 2024. And we suspect right now that it is coming down to about 3 candidates to replace Robert Iger. The leading candidate right now, and this was actually picked up by, I believe, Vash Sky, who appears on the Orange Grove 55 channel a lot. He actually found some photo evidence that Dana Walden has been hanging out with Bob Iger on some endeavors that you wouldn't normally think of a content person needing to be there for, but Dana Walden has been just by the hip to hip, right there with Robert Iger. And so I'm not sure that we have to worry about Iger so much as the ideological direction of the company. That's what we need to change. That's what we need to get rid of in terms of Disney. And if that doesn't shift, and by the way, I don't think Dana Walden will change that, but if that doesn't shift, then yes, I do think that Peltz is waiting in the ready to do that.